There's a new push to expand health care options for undocumented immigrants. Today, lawmakers will hear public testimony on a bill that would offer health coverage to people regardless of their immigration status.
Fox 61's Angela Bavaro is joining us live at the Capitol with more details on this. Angela, good morning.
Good morning, and supporters of this proposed legislation argue that health care is a human right and that nobody should be denied that right just because of their immigration status. So that is where this new bill comes in. It is Senate Bill 956, and as we mentioned, it would expand access to Connecticut's Medicaid program called Husky. So that legislation would provide Husky health coverage to state residents who meet certain criteria to some Husky programs, regardless of their immigration status. Now, we have been reviewing some of that public testimony that has been submitted for the hearing today. The National Association of Social Workers Connecticut chapter writing, quote, "The fact is that the undocumented community is blocked from accessing health coverage and often health care itself in Connecticut. They cannot apply to Access Health CT's health plans, are not eligible for Husky, and private insurance companies are either too expensive or outright reject applications due to lack of social security numbers," end quote. And the Husky for Immigrants Coalition also weighing in on this legislation, calling it a step in the right direction. But the organization does say, quote, "As it is written right now, it leaves out many in our undocumented community. SB 956 leaves out low-income parents, caretakers, and children under Husky A, and low-income elderly and disabled individuals under Husky C." They go on to say, quote, "The bill must be amended to fix these coverage gaps." Now, that public hearing is set to start today at 10 a.m. It's going to be virtual, and before that, Husky for Immigrants will be hosting their own news conference to go over this new legislation. That's going to be happening at 9:30 a.m. So, of course, we'll get you all those updates live as they happen. But for now, reporting live at the state capitol, Angelo Bavaro, Fox 61 News.